We're going to have Spain in the blue, Finland in the red, as we start off on the first map, Mauritius.
Love to see it. So, what sort of thing are you looking for on Marita Wilds to sort of see tactic-wise from these teams?
Expecting a lot of control of that top hill
Yes.
above the sea flag there. It's undeniably probably the best position here, and as the tournaments progress, teams have learnt either through their normal scrims as part of their sort of club teams, and now when they come to these internationals, we can start to see that paying off as Jose and Perez get gunned off at the top here as Finland take that early control, and that's really important. But it does look like Spain get a good hit on that Bravo flag, and they're not stopping.
Yeah, the opening gunfight, Faipu onto Oscar was able to win the gunfight on the hill. You know, that area we focused on as the sort of power area, and then individual gunfights across the map, mid-map on a B flag. Spain just completely wiped them. So interesting that Spain, you know, are able to hold this mid lane even if they lost that original gunfight, just because of the rest of the team slaying out essentially.
Yeah, 100%, and they did a really good job there where even though they lost that top, Finland didn't push through, and it's allowed them to just kind of move that line back a bit, and winning that gunfight on B was incredibly important. We see a lot of the time it turns into this huge pit fight, and it just takes ages, and it takes some of your best players away. And all we're going to start to see Spain now is they are not going to push on Charlie too much. There's no real need to. They have the 2 flag advantage. They're already sort of 15 tickets ahead, and they're just going to try and contain this Finland team. But they're slowly losing, you know. They've got 3 players out front against some of the best Finnish players around. So we've got Fuxen and Rowley here. Rassi's coming around the side, and I think we're going to start to see these Spanish guys crumble just a little bit.
Yeah, I agree. I was hopping on with Severdino here, doing some work. Gets taken out by, I believe, Jorgito. So, I mean, yeah, like you said, it's going to be really. I assume this is going to be very rotation heavy. I think both teams are capable of, you know, playing the game at a certain pace, which, you know, maybe other teams aren't able to. You know, it's not just going to be a classic, you know, A, B, C, B hold. I think it's just going to be like a pretty much a round robin, as much as possible. You know, which team is able to mess around on that home flag. You see Marquitos onto C flag. And then you see Mighty onto with some friends onto A flag. So as I say that, both teams taking that into effect. Essentially, it's just, you know, causing chaos. Which team can make sense of this, you know, fast rotation? You know, what do we do kind of gameplay? You know, some teams just aren't, you know, capable of making decisions in tight, pressured situations.
Yeah, and I definitely think it's a case where both teams now have got at least 1 person or 2 people who are just constantly hitting that home flag, and if they can get through, great, they're going to cap it. If not, they're just going to keep retrying, and we see that Spain, they couldn't get through the top, they didn't have that top map control, so they pushed through the bottom here. But we're starting to see an issue where holding B was really that key advantage here between those 2 home flags switching quite aggressively. And Finland managed to do that, and they did that very well by controlling the buildings around the side, choking the reinforcements out, and then slowly getting the push on. And we're starting to see Finland did have a bit of control there for just a second, but Spain regained Alpha. They've got Charlie now, and we've got almost like a 6-man push pushing towards Bravo.
Yeah, it's interesting how people use spots which they've seen later on. So I believe Oscar just used the you know, that sort of like grassy hop-up thing you can do on A flag, looking into the window. Could be a cheeky spot. I think you use that to perfection there. Got the kill at the top of the stairs, and you know, once that guy watching the stairs is gone, you know, the whole top floor is open for you know, free real estate essentially. So, you know, great job on to A by Spain, but Finland started to wake up. Rolly lighting up the kill feed with the 3-piece with the ZK. Not used that often. You know, you probably favour the Thompson, at least in a popularity contest, but it's really doing some work now, and I think it's time that Finland sort of do stamp their authority on the map. Marquitos doing some work as per usual. What do you expect from him? It's probably, you know, 20 kills around, honestly, for this Spain team. Big gunfight on top of this hill here. Faipu and Mighty against Oscar and Chovy. This is the sort of power position. This is this random spawn which you need to win. I think Oscar's probably going to go down. He's just flooded with 2 guys. Takes down Mighty. There's no way he wins this gunfight. Yeah, if he did. Wow. Almost. That
would have been absolutely huge, but Faipu isn't out of trouble just yet, as we see Jorgito right around the back as he's getting the revive. Unfortunately, he can't climb up the rocks quick enough. Gets the first kill, Centrifugi is not a novice here. He knows what to do. He's pulling back, putting some distance between himself and Giordito here. As Lapa gets the spawn, unfortunately doesn't catch the player there. Maybe a bit of a bad call out from the team.
Yeah.
You know, that should have been something that Lapa would have been bang on.
Yeah.
That was called out, and Giordito manages to get the kill there on Centrifugi as Spain get control of that top hill there above Charlie, leaving just Mighty on his own to defend against two very good players right now.
Yeah, luckily these teams, we've mentioned it before, I think Battlefield 5 more than any Battlefield that I've seen personally, you know, is about this staying alive and spawning meta in a squad. You know, 8 versus 8. You know, it sounds like it's more than it is. When you're playing, it feels like, you know, you haven't really got any people around you. The maps are quite large, and staying alive and getting this second guy to win a gunfight is so important. And I think, like you said, Sentry was able to do that at the top of the hill. Unfortunately, got taken down, but now he's back again, thanks to Mighty's spawn onto C flag. And you see they've won it. It's not because necessarily they're more skillful. Either team are very evenly matched. Just the numbers. All you need to, you know, change not only the gunfights but also the decisions you make. You know, if you hop on a flag and you see 3 guys on it, you're probably not going to win the gunfight. Finland coming in with a lot of kills here. I'm happy to see that, because I was worrying at the start that if Spain were just going to bomb them over after winning the first gunfights like crazy, and they've really come back now. We are looking at about an even game as we go into sort of, you know, the second third of this game.
Yeah, exactly, and it's what you were saying was perfectly right. It's all about the positive traits. You know, if you're going to fight someone, make sure you got someone here who can pick up after you.
Yep.
And Finland have used that to great advantage here. But we're starting to see Spain smoking that B flag. Now they're going to go for the push. We've got 4 people coming in now. Market goes to get the flank. Unfortunately, gets beat down by Rassi, who's doing a very good job holding these buildings right now. Giordito is going to try and come. I think he wants to go for the revive, but it looks like Rassi again baits it out, gets the kill, and although Spain managed to win over the main objective, they've forgotten about this one guy on the flank who's killed 2 people, and Rassi is just going to start wreaking havoc as Lapa and Rolly come in. So really good reactions by Finland here. They saw the big push. That smoke was a massive giveaway, although it did help a little bit getting onto the flag here. Rassi came massive on that flank, but at the end of it, Spain, who still managed to win that B flag there, and through the positive trades just by having more numbers.
No, exactly. That was about as crazy of a roof rubble crumbling gunfight you'll ever see. Insane stuff where people are just basically scrapping. You know, there's no call outs at that point. You might as well go silent. You might as well just, you know, rely on your teammates to make the plays, and hope that the better gun skill player, the more aware player, the better pre-aimer, the better, you know, cognizant player is going to come out with the win. And it goes back and forth though, like we say. It's just that Finland got pretty much wiped from what I could see, but not really, because they had a player in front B. They spawn on him, they flood it, and like you said, positive trades onto B flag. It's honestly very simple. It's not rocket science by any stretch. It's just, let's get enough guys to push a flag together, do those 3 stages of, you know, preparing for it, pushing, and making sure we push out the random spawns and actually secure the flag afterwards, which is what Ras has just done, killing Nak on the random spawn on B. And now you see a pretty solid hold. Giordito somehow managed to be on C flag. I don't know how he's done that, but that is actually a huge pick from him.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think he just pulled straight through the middle of the map here. We had Centrifugi at the top here with Fapal along that mountainside. Fapal went down. But I think with Finland so concerned with the Bravo flag and that top mountain, they forgot about the middle lane, and you know, it just managed to sneak through a bit cheeky. And that's the thing that's really good here, is that Spain have realised to suck all of these Finnish players into Bravo, just, you know, get all those numbers in. As long as we can get one person on that Charlie flag and turn them around, we can now push into Bravo, and that's exactly what they're doing here. So they're doing a really good job of pulling the Finnish team from left to right, and it's how they're maintaining this small lead as it is, the lead of the game.
Definitely. You see here now, it looks like Spain are going to take the AB flag. Finland did a good job of retaking C, their home flag, thanks to Sentry providing spawns on the top of this hill. They never really got properly removed from that hillside, apart from when Giordito was there, but they've regained control now. But the issue is that, you know, you commit so much to get your home flag back, which is why that push was so important. We actually see 5 medics on the side of Finland, so if Spain want to, they can easily clip this and lose some more tickets, essentially, because this is one of the newer things with BWL is the clash restrictions. 4 medics is the maximum. They had 5 there for a moment of time. Be interested to see how long they do not realize that for. I think it can be common in like a pickup game where you don't really know your teammates. You'd like to think that national teams would be able to arrange themselves well enough to make sure they don't go over that class limit and vary the gameplay and avoid that ticket restriction or penalty that you will incur after a time. But I mean, right now it looks like we see the flank onto A from Finland. This AC hold is very viable on this map. It's probably one of the more viable maps to do it on because B is such a, like you said, pit fight that A and C is definitely viable. So we'll see how long they can keep this up for.
Yeah, exactly, and Finland needs to start doing the same thing back to Spain now, dragging these guys around, and it's not helping when Centrifuge is all on his own on Charlie. That centre lane has been abused so many times by Spain. Finland needs to start leaving someone there. Even if that person dies all the time, it just allows people like Centrifuge to turn around, maybe get closer to Charlie, maybe get people to hop off of Bravo and push the A flag a little bit more.
Yeah.
But that's just not happening, and Spain are getting the upper hand. They've increased that lead from just 5 tickets to now something more like sort of 17, 18 mark, and that's going to be really hard to get around when it gets to the later stages of the game, if they just keep losing the flags like this. But they've got Bravo, they've cleaned up Charlie just about, but Team Bravo is about to get hit hard, and I think this is going to be a massive play from Finland. It's going to be really key, and let's just see how it goes.
Yeah, I saw Nak essentially run off C flag and leave Marquitos by himself on C. I thought left for dead, but he's somehow still alive. Mighty might spot him, or Marquitos might spot Mighty, which I think he does. But I mean, that's a weird one. If he stays alive, that's great. But like you said, this massive fight on B is probably the area we should be focusing on here. Walgito and Rolly, I think, the last two, trying to have a cheeky one-on-one. He gets help from this other B building, which is probably, the secret of Marie to B flag is this other house. Do you actually want to be on the flag, or do you want to be in this little house off the flag where people can't know how many people are there, and they can just hear a lot of rummaging around and a lot of running around, but they can't necessarily pinpoint where you are, and you can hop on and off when it suits you. But this is a great flank from Finland. They go straight to A, off B. Sevedinho and Rolly leading the charge. Marquitos has moved from home flag to home flag. That seems to be a sort of role this game. Loses the gunfight. Bullfitter's there. Brian's coming back as well. This is a huge gunfight. I think so far, and Finland are winning the gunfight on B, so we could see. Oh no, they quickly lose that. But this is a huge moment. I think this is so close. This whole game, Finland need to do this 2-cat for a decent amount of time now at least.
Yeah, or they need to do exactly what they've just done for the remainder of the game. As long as you've either got the flag or you're contesting it, you're still getting the points from it. And holding this as much as possible is great, but what they've done is they've left Charlie completely exposed. We could probably do with Centrifuge pulling back a little bit. He's so focused watching that lane to Alpha. Market is now able to push in. Mighty, all behind, is staying behind on the Charlie flag here, watching that road. I think he's clocked Market here, and this is going to be a big play from Mighty, and this could end up costing or winning his team the game here.
100%. This is a huge gunfight. Marquitos actually managed to make his way all the way around into like I call that the Shrek toilet. He wins the gunfight on Mighty. It's basically an all-star Smash Mouth
right now.
moment. Yeah. I mean,
yeah.
Again, we saw him on C. He dies. See him on A. He dies. See him on C again. He dies. But that's not necessarily a bad thing because he's just causing absolute havoc on these home spawns, and I think he's bought everyone enough time to essentially win the gunfight back on A. That's what it seems to me, or at least he's provided spawns so they can stall C out. Sentry obviously providing this huge spawn beacon and prevents the random spawn onto this top rock, but also hasn't impacted the game as much as you'd like, perhaps from like a Lewis gun main sort of player that you might expect. Spawn beacon's great, but at one point you probably have to help out on the flag itself. Especially when we're nearing this point of the game, in my opinion. Like, it's 26-32. Very close. They do win the game.
No, I do have to agree there. I mean, they've got Alpha secure.
Yeah.
So there's no point to be sitting on that top lane watching the Alpha push.
Yeah.
You know, jump on the flag, get a bit closer. Yeah, he's now watching sort of that
Lapa.
push down the bottom there, but he's not doing much help. It's just been those 2-3 guys on that Charlie flag. Paper and Mighty do, and Rassi just locking that down, and that was such a key gunfight.
Yeah.
You know, all the time they've managed to keep that mess for Spain. They've kept the attack and counter-attack on Alpha weak, and now they've taken that sort of 17-point loss, and it's now even like a 20-point game between the two. Finland coming clutch at the very last minute. What is Spain going to do here? What can they do?
Oh my lord. Bullfitter winning some ridiculous gunfights, like on head glitches, like turning on people like crazy. I thought Lapa went huge there with a 3-piece in sort of mid to prevent this sort of like B to A push, but that Spain managed to actually get on the flag. No small part thanks to Bullfitter here. There's still one guy on the flag, but like you said, Finland seemed to clutch up there right at the end, and now I don't think this counts as a choke, but I think Spain have clutched up themselves, and they do get a wave of kills now. So right now we're looking at an AB like sort of mosh pit. This is when you like to see Sentry basically say they're not going to come to C realistically. Just get off the flag and just push B with us. Do something, because they're not going to get to C in time realistically. This big fight on B is happening right now. Rasa with a big win on Knack. Finland have control. This is huge for them. They could seal the game here.
Yeah, and that was an absolutely outstanding last-minute push from Finland here. They saw they were in trouble. Spain are getting just bogged down, tied up in the middle of the map. They've got 7 tickets to try and either grab Bravo or decap Charlie here, and although Bravo's contested, they're still losing the tickets here, but they managed to do a massive push onto Bravo. Vukasin and Rolly just not able to hold out. Rassi on his own here gets taken out, and I think this is going to be Spain with the last minute clutch of this game. You know, they counter pushed very well. They're holding A and B with 3 tickets left on the board. This is going to be extremely important, but Finland are now nearly getting triple capped here, and I think we're going to see a 3-0 game to Spain right now.
This is all about like death tickets now, not even just the flag caps. Who's holding their spawns? Who's getting revives? It looks like you said Spain are going to clutch up with the trip cap. I don't know how the hell that happened. They didn't have enough players on the map to do that, but I guess they did. Now they're trying to get C back, but it's all about these deaths. You see how many players are holding their respawns? It's L2 Central on the map, and it looks like Spain's going to get the ticks from their A-B hold. I don't think there's enough time. They're all holding their spawns just to not get because they know they're going to lose the game if they do. Horgito skips 2-2, 2-1 in favour of Spain. There's only one more ticket on the line. Finland can't afford it, and they lose the map.
What a game that was, and what class we saw just at the very last minute, Jimmy. What was that? What did we just witness?
Insane. All the callouts go out the window. All the things you've learned. It's all about instinct, muscle memory, and clutch at that point. Huge game.
And both teams are really good, but now they're thrown into a completely different set of map here, where all these buildings just pretend they're destroyed already, because that's going to happen throughout the rest of the game. Finland's in the blue, Spain is in the red here. They're both kicking off. Finland, in my opinion, although they're going to jump on Alpha first, they do have the worst of the 2 spawns.
Yeah.
But we have to see what they make of it. They're going very heavy along that top road to Charlie here, and they're met with a barrage from Oscar at the top, but the smokes are blocking them out. He's obviously called that out to the rest of the team, so we should be expecting a lot of damage happening in the centre of the map here as Spain take Bravo.
Yeah, this is interesting. I mean, like you said, Spain are probably with the favourable spawn on this map. They haven't taken C yet for some unknown reason. I don't know what Chovy's doing. I genuinely don't know. There's no words for that. You should be obviously on the flag. Oscar's probably thinking he was watching that right lane. He probably thought, guys, we need to get the flag, because they've a single flag in this game is useless. They had B for a while there and they got 0 tickets for it because they haven't got that home spawn. They finally do, but by this point Finland have pushed up. So I think Spain have basically screwed that up. 100% screwed that up. I mean. Finland, sent one guy to B. He's basically dead. He's just watching the flank. You've got 7 guys, milling around that A street. Horgito manages to win the gunfight onto Firepower. I think he was watching the flank. He's now on A. They've traded home spawns again. This is what I was saying with this home spawn stuff. I feel like the game isn't won on B flag anymore. At this stage, it feels like it's just won by how much time can you just, milk off of other teams' home flags. See what I mean? Like it's like, can you get this AC hold, and how long can you hold it? Because Finland need to hold this for a decent amount of time for this strategy to work. You know, you can't fuck up B and then say, okay, we can't afford any time on C. You need to get this time if you're Finland.
Yeah, exactly. And you know, we witnessed against Centrifugi. I think is just his positioning right now isn't working for it because it allowed players to get straight on the alpha flag. Finland are now on the back foot, trying to scrap for their own home here. And like you said, the strategy really relies on holding these 2 home flags for as long as possible. And although they've got the early 10-point lead, they know Spain are going hard on alpha. Maybe, you know, send 1 or 2 people to prod Bravo, push that off a little bit.
Yeah.
Because right now, Spain are out slaying. They're beating you off of every head glitch right now. There's no way you're going to win those stand-up fights on alpha on this map. At least from the first sort of 10, 20 tickets we've seen so far. Finland need to get the rotation game on. They need to just bounce from flag to flag to flag.
Yeah.
And that's how they're going to get under this Spanish team's skin. They're not going to know where to spawn. They're going to struggle. They're going to get spread apart. Finland are going to win the trades, like we saw Marisha on Bravo. But we'll just have to wait and see. It's still a very early game. Can't call anything out just yet. Probably until the last 3 tickets, like last game. But we've got a massive fight on alpha here. It's just gone either way. Oscar does go down. Larp has left against Jose and Bullfitter. And I think he's going to be pushing for this alpha.
Yeah, I just wanted to pick up on the role stuff for this map. So obviously this is a bit more in depth, but specifically looking at certain players, I would regard Centrifugi as like a hard Lewis gun. What I mean by that is he's very stationary. He will probably go to the same spot most of the game and hold it because he knows what's most important for his team. He knows what role he's playing, and he's not you know, flexing around the map, as in he's not going from lane to lane watching it, you know, rotating in. He's basically just the anchor. He's the guy that you know where he is on your team. You know what he can and can't do, and you know his role is extremely important for his team. On the flip side, you see Oscar bring out a Bren gun. He knows that that's basically the hard counter to the Lewis gun in terms of the very heavy hitting. If you hit your shots with a bipod, you know, deployed, you are going to probably take him out, and that's the counter. That's the counterplay. That's the, you know, the action and the reaction from these teams. And I like to keep an eye on that as we go forward because, like you said, I feel like it's pretty close SMG wise between these teams. Both teams have pretty good slayers. You've got Larpa, you've got Marquitos, Hulkito, you've got Sevadinho now coming out as a sort of standout player for the Finnish team. So I think that's pretty even. I think this sort of LMG gunfight, which usually favors Centrifugi, can be countered by Oscar. He's a very smart, very good, skilled player, and he knows what to do to counter people's best strengths.
Yeah, no, exactly here. And although the individual play like that has been working really well for Spain, the one thing that's gone into their favour is Finland's lack of aggressiveness on Bravo here. It's just allowed them to commit 4 people to each flag, and when you've got those smart decisions coming in from those players like Oscar, it's making it very easy for Spain to win. All of these engagements have been sort of, you know, 3-on-4, 2-on-4, and even before Finland even pushed onto Charlie, they're already taking hits from Giorgito here, and then the moment they're spreading out, they're hitting into these 2 versus 3 engagements.
Yep.
And they're just getting punished for it. But they still managed to keep that lead of Spain's down to just 15 tickets. It's manageable for now. It looks like they've managed to cap Alpha. They're setting up for the control, and I think hopefully we can start to see a push on Bravo. They really need to like uproot Spain a little bit from that position,
Yeah.
because that's been absolutely key right now.
Talking about key, Larpa Ding Dong is probably the key player for Finland. Looking for him to basically drop like 22 kills a map. Not even kidding. Doing revives, doing smoking, being aggressive, getting those trades, you know, baiting other teammates out. There's nothing wrong with that if you can get the kill, if you're the strongest player on your team. And that's what's happening essentially for him right now. Adri picking up a huge kill on this little lower B side, probably one of the more underrated power positions in the game. Is not usually underneath everything, but in this game, on this map, it really is. If you can, you know, lurk underneath in the cellar of B building, which as it goes crashing down to the ground, as you said, it doesn't last very long. Absolutely flattened. That was an incredible piece of demolition there. And yeah, I think you're looking at players like Larpa, like Vukasin to really carry the load here. This is the first time I've seen Finland cap B flag. It's been very, very temporary. But like you said, they've basically just gone, we don't want to go B. We want to do AC, and they do it relentlessly. They haven't really gone away from that until now. And this is a huge gunfight, because if you change your decision, if you change your tactic mid-game and it doesn't work, you feel like you've kind of got no answer. You know, this way doesn't work and this way doesn't work. What are we going to do now, guys? So this is a huge gunfight for Finland.
Yeah, and I think what I'm hoping to see from Finland now, obviously it's easier seeing from that bird's eye view down from our side, is that all of these players who are dying on Bravo, they need to start spawning the Centrifugi and now pushing Charlie. You know, these guys on Bravo should be counting. You know, there's 4 or 5 Spanish players on here. Push for Charlie now, push for Charlie now. And then that's going to start to get the rotation. That's going to see them to claw back even more of this lead here. Like we see Lapa and Almighty taking control of the mid-map here, but they're just a bit too slow on the respawns. It's allowed Spain to set up. They've now got control of this sort of alpha mid here. They're containing these Finnish players in. And maybe that's the role Centrifugi should start playing, you know, when B starts getting pushed, maybe give C a cheeky little poke, you know, spread these Spanish players across the map, stop them, relieve that pressure on Bravo, but unfortunately that's not happening, and as we see, Finland are now contained by some really clever positioning from Spain.
No, I totally agree. You're 100% right. As you say, that Centrifugi does finally move from this position, basically in his spawn. He does move up to the wooden fences. He clearly feels uncomfortable as he backs up. Gets the kill on Chovy. Like you said, if I was him, I would skirt this sort of road on this like left side from A to C and just apply pressure, provide this constant spawn there for your team. It feels like he doesn't really know who's in front of him because there's no one in the way. He could have easily gone there. He instead rotates to B. I feel like that was a mistake. They had a chance there to pester C flag, at least to provide, you know, some like I said, stretch across the map. Essentially, they have to, you know, Spain would have to designate some players over to the C flag. They decided not to do it, and they instead hit B, and that hasn't really worked out. They've got a lot of guys basically lumping themselves into B, and it feels like the sort of AR players of Spain are having a field day. Jorgito with a huge DPs, and he's behind them all now. Oh, he's behind them all now. Oh god.
Yeah, it's going to be an absolute murder house from Spain right now.
Yeah.
Rassi just lying on the floor, trying to be a bit sneaky breaky. Spanish players running all around him. If it wasn't for that smoke, he'd be dead. Gets off a shot, it doesn't get the kill, so now he's just ruined that completely for himself. And Spain and dropping supplies. Cheeky little parachute coming down on Bravo here. Yeah, so Spain are doing very well containing this. It's 80 to 40, so the double cap that Finland get next, they have to hold for a significant amount of time. But I think the fact they haven't been so fluid is really, really punishing them.
Yeah.
Lapa's setting up for a bit of a push here on Bravo. Smokes are going out. He takes, goes for the challenge. Unfortunately, can't quite finish it. Faypower is having to pull back to Alpha just a little bit more as we're starting to see Spain putting the nail in the coffin on Alpha flag there.
Oh, they've really gone for the kill here. No mercy at all. I mean, I think there's one guy or two guys on B flag underneath for Finland. I could be wrong saying that. I think there is, but I mean, they've really gone for the trip cap here. Usually you don't see top teams really go for trip caps, honestly, unless they feel very confident, very comfortable that they're winning every single gunfight. Savadinho wings a two-piece, but there's so many guys around him. It's just, what are you going to do? Individually, the gunfights weren't won there. The flank from Jorgito was huge onto B, like we pointed out. Sandwiches them, nowhere for them to go. This sort of home spawn essentially is probably one of the worst spawns you could possibly get because these hills are basically just open. I mean, there's, you know, if you want to do anything, get to B flag, you're in the open. Get to A flag, you're in the open. Get to C flag, you're in the open. There's no way of getting around that without heavy smoking or slaying. And I think Spain have just stamped their authority on this map. That is a huge win, ticket-wise.
Exactly, and the tickets do make a bit of a difference here. But going from narrowly winning by 2 points to then absolutely getting your game on and rocking at 78 points, especially at the quarter-final stage here, is a massive play. And I think Finland need to start looking at themselves, thinking, hey, what did we do right in the first game? Yep. What did we do wrong in the second game? Pick their heads up and go into this next map.
So that's what I think's kind of going to happen. Is going to be this favours Spain's playstyle, but then again, we've seen crazy things happen. Then, you know, a playstyle not working out for a team. So let's see what happens.
Yeah, 100%. We've got Spain in the blue. We've got Finland in the red here. As both teams kick this game off, Spain getting early onto Alpha. And like I said, I'm hoping to see Finland get a bit annoying in this map, split off in teams of two, be everywhere and nowhere at once, and make this Spanish team question where they need to push here. But they've got a nice line set up. It's very obvious that they're going very heavy on that Bravo push as we start to see some really good engagements opening up here.
Yeah, this is the key engagement off the start of this game. You never really see anything other than two teams flying at B and just trying to trade each other out. Hopping on with Horgito here, gets a revive, and I mean, the kills coming in for Finland, they have got the advantage. They are taking over the flag, but it's how well these remaining Spanish players are able just to cause confusion and, you know, stay spawnable. Unable to happen there. I think we saw off the start both teams do the exact same class choices: 4 medics, 3 assaults, and 1 support. So these sort of, that is a pretty standard loadout for most maps now. You might see that on a lot of maps. Obviously, the support player might go from, like, you know, Lewis to FG, depending on how happy they are to do that. But I think that's pretty standard. So honestly, you could have easily gone 4 medics, 4 assaults, but sometimes people do like that sort of support player to anchor. Definitely suits Finland's playstyle and Centrifuge's playstyle. Interesting to see that Spain have actually recapped B after losing it originally, but this flank from Finland onto A has worked out quite nicely. But this is a very hard flag to hold, and you see that come into fruition literally straight away as I say that. So Spain are going to have A and B. The slaying sometimes just feels too, like, all-consuming. They feel like they get every player, not just, you know, the first 3 players in the squad. They get the 4th guy as well. They clear it out, like, you know, clear house basically, and push up the map.
Yeah, and I mean, what we did see was a really good play from Finland. They weren't able to execute it. As they got that push on Bravo, they waited for Spain to re-push back in, and instantly they sent a 3-man straight to Alpha to try and recap or capture that Alpha flag and force the early triple cap and relieve the pressure on Bravo. Unfortunately, I think they were a bit too slow in it. They should have been a lot more aggressive. There was 1 man on. I mean, we're starting to see the likes of Ardy here and Bullfitter, who are really, like, aggressive players, and they're just playing very static right now, holding Alpha, and I think they're predicting this push. But now they're moving up to the centre of the map here. Very dangerous area for Finland as Spain start to get control of, you know, the majority of those sneaky lane passages you can take.
I'd like to draw your attention to Oscar on top of this roof here on this sort of sea overwatch. Probably, if I was him, I wouldn't do it on stream because now everyone knows how to do that. But I mean, he's just showing you all how to get onto a roof now in Provence. Completely legit, not banned as currently, and he's actually outside the map now. Oscar never ceases to amaze me with the stuff he could find out in the game, and he gets a kill. As I mentioned, some support players like Oscar can go from a Bren, very slow support gun, to the FG, the fastest support gun in the class, very swiftly and without much, you know, difference in his sort of effectiveness. So it really shows you the value of a player like that who can basically play every class, Swiss Army knife kind of guy, who will play a role just the way your team needs him to. And that has really been effective so far. You see Mighty on A slowly capping it, but Spain are doing this thing which strong teams do, which is we don't even need any structure. We just need to throw enough guys at a flag, and we know that we're skillful enough to win the gunfights, and it feels like they're just doing that right now. They're sort of solo challenging flags, like Marquitos peeking a corner when he knows most of the team's going to be there, and just does it anyway because he feels confident enough to win the gunfight. They swarm just really effectively and get all the kills there, so it feels like Spain are really sort of enforcing themselves now in this game.
Yeah, no, 100%, and they're just bouncing between flag and flag and flag, and Finland can't sort of keep up with that. They managed to take out Oscar, who does get the respawn on Alpha here. Finland are stacking up to push onto Alpha, but there's only 2 players on, you know. Rassi and Rolly should be calling out, guys, I've got like 3-4 players here, and then the guys on Alpha need to, you know, like, be aggressive, like really aggressive on that flag, put Spain under that pressure, and they're currently not doing that. You know, Vukasin pushes alone on Bravo here. Rassi is alone now, he was, on Charlie. And we saw Lapa and Centrifugi on this Alpha flag. And immediately from Alpha, we need to start seeing a push from Savid here, straight down the centre. You know, apply pressure in the mid, pull Fitter out, and start to get these guys piling into Bravo. Maybe to get a bit of a triple cap here, pull these guys away from the Charlie flag. But that's not happening. They're holding on to the 2 flag for a little while. As I say that, Spain pushed them off, but they do reduce that lead just a little bit.
No, really well pointed out there. I mean, we see this sort of rotational game we talked about on these sort of you know, smaller, less linear maps, and I think Mighty did a great job there, just catching the A random spawn as they lost the flag, getting the kill on Oscar, staying up, gets his team to spawn on him, and gets a revive from Firepower. That's just 101 how to stay alive. Oscar, though, I think he gets an ace? Wait, what? I don't know what happened there. He gets some sort of spawn and spawns basically on top of them and gets a free 2-piece. I don't know. Is he a wizard? Is he controlling the game? Is he hacking? No, he's probably just a good player. Centrifugi with a good pick onto him there, though. But I mean, this is the thing. Centrifugi, if you look on the scoreboard, 10-4, having a great game. You wouldn't really expect that from your support Lewis gun player on this map. So probably questions to be asked of their SMG players.
But Larper holder with the triple cap round the back of the Alpha flag, going in massive, getting the revive here. That is going to be really, really embarrassing for those Spanish players. He just went in on a 1 in 3, a nice spray across a choke point right there, and he gets that triple. Now let's see if his team can make something off of that as they grab both Alpha and Charlie. Now they do hold these 2 flags. Awesome play from Larper. Finland may still be with a chance just yet.
Definitely, that's the sort of play you look for from a player like that. You know, LAN winner in the ESB BF1 LAN that was held like a couple of months ago. That sort of player is the sort of guy you want on your team. You know, you don't want to go against that kind of guy because he's got experience, he's got composure, he's obviously got enough skill to do that at a professional environment, and he shows why he's got sort of that sort of name recognition and that sort of kudos as a player. And these are the sort of matches where you need to do it when your team's struggling. It's not just how good are you in those games where you're destroying them and you're just wiping them off the map. Those sort of kills aren't really that meaningful. It's this sort of game where your team is losing down 2 maps and you still have enough composure and skill to pull off a 3-piece against a team which is feeling itself. However, Spain are sort of showing their class here by they get 3-piece, absolutely fine. We're just going to cap 2 flags and win the game that way. Doesn't matter to us. We'll do it either way. So it feels like sorry, go on.
Yeah, no, and it's definitely how it's feeling right now. Spain, tactically, definitely the better team. They're on par with Finland when it comes to those gunfights.
Yep.
But now we're starting to see Finland reacting a little bit quicker every game.
Ooh.
They could be in with a triple cap here if they can get some spawns on Papo right now. It's not going to happen. Rolio's expecting the push onto Charlie as we see a 3-man push from Spain right there. And hopefully we can start to see these guys collapse a bit more in on Bravo and knock these Spanish guys off of the flag as they push onto Charlie. But Rolly goes down, Market and Georgie are pushing on, and this is going to be big.
I mean, for a second there, like you said, that we thought there was going to be a trip cap from Finland there. They lost the gunfights on B, but that diversion essentially allows them to keep the A and C flags. I say that again. And Spain just feel like they walk into something and something happens. It very, very rarely feels like they lose that push. You've got guys like Jorgito pulling off a 3-piece of his own on C flag there. And I don't know, it feels like sometimes they sort of work so well as a combo. There's so many players looking for kills. They're so kill hungry, and that isn't a bad thing. That isn't a criticism by any stretch. They're all looking for that pick. That when you've got like 4 players swarming you, all looking for that kill, it feels impossible. It doesn't matter how good you are. Sometimes if you're outnumbered and outskilled in certain gunfights, then it really takes effect. And you see this sort of reverse thing. We say this every time. It's like, oh great, they're having a trip cap. Oh great, it looks like they're about to get trip cap straight back again. I mean, they are, luckily Finland are able to take C, but there is pressure from both sides. Marquitos and Adri causing absolute havoc. This is the sort of sandwich we talk about as well. I mean, when you trip cap and you get trip cap straight back, obviously the ticket difference remains about the same. Honestly, I'd prefer a 2 cap and hold that and just make sure there's some sort of structure on the map. But it was whatever works. And for Spain, it's really working just to have a chaotic, crazy game. That seems to suit them very well.
Yeah, and that's what they're feeding on right now. They're putting Finland under this pressure. They're breaking up their rhythm, which they knew Finland were getting. And now they've broken up this rhythm, they're just kind of spread themselves out across the map here. Centrifugi acting as a spawn beacon for A. We saw a brilliant opportunity opening up for Bravo here, but now Finland decide to choose as Spain set up the defences on Bravo. They know they've got a cheeky little lead here. 50 points is nothing to laugh at. And Finland in a really difficult position. But what we're starting to see is these Spanish guys are engaging. These guys, 2-on-1 here, there's always
Yeah.
two guys firing, and that's why they're able to just walking like RoboCop, taking hits left, right, and centre, because it's 200 health versus 100 in a lot of these engagements,
Yeah.
and Finland aren't clocking that.
No, I totally agree. It's this setting up for a push. You know, how close are you to your teammate for it to make sense to make a push at that time? And you see this sort of church messy gunfight going on. It feels like the Spain always have that one guy left, usually a medic who's usually able to revive all his teammates. Huge one-on-one here between Sentry and Bullfitter. Sentry again playing slow with the Lewis gun. As a Lewis gun player, I can say it's not easy to play Lewis gun on this map, and I think after a hot start, I think he's starting to struggle a little bit now with this sort of pressure that you see from Spain. They played at such a high pace that sometimes, like you said, there's nothing you can do. You can hit every single shot on the head and you still lose the gunfight because there's just another guy shooting you from the side. See Lape here staying alive. Finland have kept themselves closer than they probably should do in these games just by being able to stay alive and hold spawns. But there's some times where it's just not enough. You can spawn over and over again if you want to, but you know, one of these pushes you're going to have to get the gunfight wins, get the trades and the smoke, and make a difference on the actual flag itself. Spain do this thing very well. You just saw that on A flag. Chovy and Oscar, they basically get the flag, leave it, and then loop straight back around again as soon as they start losing the flag. They went to go get the A random spawn, and that creates a pinch on the flag, and they easily win the gunfight into A. Now there's no random spawn because they've kept the flag, and now they force the pressure onto C flag.
Yeah, but Finland, can they hold on for these two flags for 65 tickets here?
Oof.
Is it possible? Can they do it? Unfortunately, their push on Charlie has been broken up, and we need to start seeing like Fuxen and Rassi really turning up the heat, whacking it to 11, and coming in clutch here. It's nice to see Centrifuge getting a bit more aggressive on the flags here, holding back. At this point, we need to start seeing someone push towards Bravo. They're hit with a bit of pressure. You know, if they can knock Bravo off, it could go well for them. They've got 4 tickets left. They've got to stay alive for that long against this Spanish team. 58 tickets is a lot to ask for, and I think that is going to mark the end of the third round. Spain taking that 58-0.
Yeah, as you say, I think it was a bit too late to make the comeback. It was a big ask to do. You see the Barcode Man, 25 and 10, leading the way, not just in kills but also in score there. Huge play from him. As you said, 58-0 in favour of Spain in this third map. So let's update the tickets, and I believe we're going to be something on like 138 tickets to 0 now. Press that follow button and follow the BWL Twitch stream. Maybe Finland will get some, you know, increased strength, increased bullet penetration, something that will alter their fortunes in this map. So I guess as a middle ground viewer, you will be rooting for Finland here to make a comeback, to come out strong on Underground. This is a single elimination tournament, so you know, if they lose this map, they will be out the tournament, and that would be a shame for Finland and their supporters. This is probably the hardest map to commentate. Sorry, not even commentate, just spectate. This is going to be a huge clash on B flag. Good luck keeping up with what's going on, because I probably won't be able to. Absolute chaos.
Yeah, as you start to see both teams coming in very much, and it's a huge flat map with these two elevations of gameplay right now. Finland doing a very good job taking that top level. They've taken B and Charlie here. Spain managing to take that alpha flag, but now they're pushing very aggressively onto Bravo. And as we saw here, Maxo and Ardi did a very good job clearing the top of that, and it looks like Spain do lose the push down the bottom with Centrifuge, with some good play. But if we jump onto Market here, who's been very sneaky, coming around the sandbags, getting that flank. I think Centrifuge is clocking what's going on. I think Market's just locking out the home spawn on Charlie right now. It's being a big massive pain. He's now got 2-man on, he's got some friends there. He can't quite jump over that wall, but that does get shut down very, very quickly from Finland, who clocked what was going on. And they're actually doing a very good job on this map. They have taken the lead, they're 5 tickets ahead. You know, they've got both those A and Charlie flags here, giving Spain that centre of the map. And it's going their way. Really is going their way.
No, definitely. I mean, I think this is probably the most interesting map in terms of what are the tactics, guys. Like, I play this map a decent amount of time, and with you know, various like pickup teams, Tribe or GB, and the tactic is always like we don't really know what we want to do even like 5 seconds before we start the game, because honestly sometimes it works and sometimes it just really doesn't. It feels like you're just it's just a 50-50. Where are they going to go? How many guys are they going to send here? It feels so random that the only semblance of structure I can see on this map is this AC hold, which you saw from Finland to start off, and I think they're going to go for it again. You see Adri and Horgito trying to repel this force. Roddy gets the kill. Adri's still on his belly, gets taken out by Vuxen, and I think this AC hold is so viable because you take control of that, the underground layer there. They can't access it from either flag, and you sort of squish them on B, and they have to go through the choke points. They have to go through these doors. And you saw Rasta there, for example, with the SF just causing havoc. That sort of gun on this map is very, very effective.
Yeah, no, 100% agree with you there, and it's a very smart play from Finland. Although Spain did manage to crawl that lead back just a little bit, they're sort of barely even right now. It's just a matter of how much Finland can withstand all of this.
Yeah.
Vuxen out with the dynamite, trying to get them through the smoke here, not working out too much. Spain, no, they can't take that head-on engagement. So I think they're just going to try and spawn on B, push out from the centres, find a weak spot at some flank somewhere here. But when you've got Rassi, who's just absolutely dominating the likes of Market, who tries to go around here. And although the kills seem very Spanish favoured, they're just not getting the right kills. And I think Finland are doing very well right now. And I hopes are looking up.
Yeah, that's an interesting point. They're getting a lot of kills. They're definitely winning the Slain battle in general, but they're just not getting like the key ones to sort of dismount the setup they've got. I say that and they completely flood A, and that's gone for a while. I can't see that changing anytime soon, in my opinion.
But now what we need to see is the likes of, these Finnish players who have gone down on Alpha, call it out. Hey, Alpha's being capped. There's like 4 guys here. Let's push Bravo. Let's overwhelm Bravo. Just spawn on those guys in the center and get the trades on the flags rather than on those kills there, because that lead that they just got from that awesome defense up until the very end is slowly ticking away.
Wow! Nax gets like 3 with the dynamite in the underground as they go from C to A that way instead of pushing B. Like you said, this is one of the reasons why clash restrictions are like a desirable thing in a competitive setting. You've got to now work with your teammates to push B. If you're a medic and you want to push B, guess what's at the top of the stairs? Sandbags. How are you going to get past them? You can't. You have to climb on top of the trains and go through the window. That's your only way in. You have to ask your teammates, your assault players or your support players, can you get rid of this sandbag? Because I can't do it personally. And that's a counter. Oscar is on B, countering the medics because he knows that Finland aren't communicating well enough to get rid of the sandbags, and they can't get onto B flag. Therefore, they force them onto A, and that's how Nat can get a 3-piece in the underground, because he knows they're not going to push B. He knows they have to go for A. That's just team play, and honestly, a lack of team play as well, which causes that effect.
Yeah, 100%. And with Charlie going down, I don't know what Finland are going to do. It's 98 to 113. They've been at this 2-cap for a while now. Rassi goes down, and we've just seen Ardi going absolutely big right now. Especially with his teammate, all the eyes there. Yeah, good job. And Finland don't know what to do. They're grabbing Alpha here. They are going to be able to prevent that triple cap going for a long time. Maybe they need to see Vuxen push onto that Bravo flag. Maybe with Centrifugi, draw these players out with the dynamite on the sandbags. But they're playing very static right now. We do have a small team on Charlie. I mean, Larpa's leading that charge as he does. He's a very solid player. Doesn't quite like the looks of that flank. I think he's going to go around the back.
I mean, Finland have gone for this 2-hold, and you saw this on other maps where they've gone for something and you see Vuxen puff up a 3-piece. They haven't been flexible enough to change their tactics.
Larpa's taken out 1.
Nice.
Unfortunately, he hasn't got the ammo. Takes out the 3rd. Can he finish this off with the 4th and get the flag for his team here? Sees the guy, puts a few shots into him, gets a hit fire. Oh, and unfortunately, he can't quite finish that off. Awesome play by Larpa. It's a shame that no one was there to push on the flag and support him. And it's just a little bit too late that these Finnish players are on, because the revives and spawns have already come in, and that could have been the moment. Larpa needed someone there with him at that moment, and unfortunately it just didn't happen.
Yeah, no, unfortunate they're unable to get the sort of finish off the move, I guess. But no, I mean, again, it feels like Finland are playing rigid, and it's just like, okay, we're gonna do this, and if it doesn't work, then we're gonna try again. That kind of like mentality in this kind of map, I feel really doesn't suit it. I feel like we could have got a different map rotation, and we could see a much different map count. I could, if we got like a Ras Rotterdam, Hamada, and another linear map like Devastation, or even Narvik's quite linear, I think that would have suited Finland so much more than this rotation, where all these maps pretty much have been, rotational SMG heavy maps, and that seems to massively favour the Spanish in this game. As you see, they get another wipe, and it's going to be a comeback of the century if Finland can come back from this.
Yeah, no, 100%. But they finally clocked that Bravo was very undermanned, only a few people on it. Spain are already controlling that centre of the map here, but luckily Mighty managed to finish off Jordito because he could do a serious amount of damage. Naxo is around the flank here, getting on top of the trains. I think he's just trying to be a big pain in the back here. Fortunately, Lapa can't make use of that at all, as we start to see Spain push onto a very undefended Bravo, as Finland focus all their energies on Alpha, which is about to become a very, very hot zone for them.
Definitely, I think the first time I've seen Finland take out the sandbags there, and they get a wipe. It's like, oh guys, did we forget there's another flag on the map? It feels like they've just realised that B flag is an option, and they finally go for it and to cap it. But again, this is why this C A hold is so effective. You basically need to give up B, and you just do this side hold with the underground. You watch all the lanes, you try and form a line. And that's probably the most effective way of doing this map. And it feels like Spain have all the answers. They can play it either way. They know that they can take B if they need to. They work together to destroy the sandbags when they need to. And they also do the AC hold very effectively as well. It feels like they're a very well-rounded team. I mean, they are, I think, deserved of this place. If I'm being 100% honest, I feel like they should definitely be in the top 4 teams in the world in this tournament competing for the gold. So I feel like this is the sort of caliber of team you need to play. You need to be at this stage in the tournament to win these games. You can't have any mistakes. You can't have any flaws of oh, we need this kind of map to do well. If this kind of map comes up, then we're going to struggle. Oh, we weren't using the right classes for this certain map. I feel like you can't have that anymore. You've got to have players which can play multiple roles, multiple maps, and do it very effectively. Yeah,
and obviously that's going to come. That's very relevant, sort of now when you've got a very unknown map rotation.
Yeah.
So I've just seen Ardy throw a very unfortunate Molotov, which has caused himself to get killed very quickly there. But Finland pushing for the triple cap. But yeah, as I was saying, like the whole setting out your roles and everything, it works when you've got a static setup, when you know the map rotation that you're going to be playing. Unfortunately, at the moment, in its current state, Battlefield competitive, you have to be fluid. And obviously Spain, a very fluid team. Few players on Finland right now showing that. We start to see the likes of Centrifugi always in one spot, unfortunately not able to compete when it comes to moving out of that spot here. Lapa, Mighty and Vuxen are doing very good jobs, but their role as sort of slayers and leading those pushes sort of lean towards that, because that's all you do in the game. But when we get the RSP in, so early December, fingers crossed, we can start to see maps possibly being banned and teams really favouring certain maps going forward, which is going to be really, really fun and interesting to see here.
Definitely. I mean, you see Sentry go for the wallbang there. So he was on C a second ago with Mighty. Mighty was a medic. He was clearly struggling to get onto the flag and do anything because he's a medic. He hasn't got any explosives on him. Can't get the sandbags down. Which, by the way, is extremely smart on the side of Spain for realizing that they just seem to be unable of communicating that. They get a huge wipe. So I guess I'm chatting absolute nonsense right now. But I mean. It feels like Centrifugi had an explosive. He should be taking that down. If I was his teammate, I would be saying, "What are you doing? You need to take the sandbag down." It's just as simple as that. Honestly, this game is so complex. I know, and it's so difficult to get everything right. And we are splitting hairs here. But if you've got explosives, you should be taking sandbags down. Simple as that.
Yeah, 100%. But we're starting to see some life being injected into this Finnish team here, as they're bouncing very fluidity across all of the flags here. It's really awesome to see. They did try and set up for the choke on the trains, but unfortunately it hasn't worked too well for them. and I'm not too sure what they're going to do here as Spain push aggressively onto Bravo through the trains. PayPal does manage to get the push off on that. He did a really good job defending, but they've got 7 lives to knock down 57 tickets here, and I don't think it's going to go too well. They have to get every revive. I mean, Spain right now could play very clever and just camp the bodies.
Yeah.
And prevent those revives here. They've left Charlie completely undefended here. We're starting to see Severed and Rassi take advantage of that. Smoke's going out, but they were too slow on that push as the whole Spanish team is there. And that's going to be 2 lives gone for Finland. It's now 4-45. They've only managed to take down 12 tickets to 2 lives. I think if I could do my math right here, they'll probably get another 30 tickets in that same life set, but it's not going to go that way. As Spain push out as one big blob. Larper nearly getting the 4-piece, unfortunately can't get it that time. And Finland in some massive trouble as Bravo starts to go in the way of Spain.
Yeah, I think that was unfortunate more than anything. I feel like Finland had some sort of, kill advantage, and there you see it, the game ending there. 0-39 or 39-0 in favour of Spain there. So that does mean they, move on to the semi-finals of the BWL preseason international tournament. GG's to both teams. It's not over yet. There's still going to be 2 maps to play.
Finland in the red and Spain in the blue.
Yeah, so, I mean, again, this is one of the main 3 maps you see from, the release of Squad Conquest as a game mode in Battlefield 5. And, teams have played this map God knows how many times, like hundreds of times. I don't want to say thousands because that might be exaggerating a bit, but so many repetitions on this map for all these players. There is zero excuse for not doing the right thing, zero excuse for not watching the right spawns, zero excuse for not holding the right lines or doing the right tactics. You see Oscar maintain that position on the repair station. This is going to be a big gunfight. I mean, there's a huge gunfight on B flag here, as you usually expect, but there's always on this map a very interesting start because the gunfights on B are going down if you like infantry play, and if you like tank play, you see Mammut. Is that I guess that's a Finnish player who's probably subbed in, I guess, in the meantime, has taken the tank. Spain winning the gunfights on B flag. Severdinho is holding spawn there, but very aggressive onto Oscar there from Mammut.
Yeah, and it definitely is going to pay off because it's forcing them back a bit. Mammut is at 42 health. He is a bit weak right now, hiding behind the supply station. So we're starting to see Oscar pushing very, very aggressively. Centrifugi gets the push here, but we've got repair versus assault right now. It depends on what you prefer to have, being able to repair yourself or have the extra damage. And I think Oscar's really feeling it, but the repairs are just outweighing the damage dealt. Obviously Mammut is not able to heal like Oscar is healing right now. Everything that Centrifugi's been pumping in isn't going the way that is going to happen, but Oscar does end up dying there. So
Yeah.
I think that answers the question that I've had for a while. Is what's better to have, an assault with the Panzerfaust or a support with the repair kit?
Yeah, it looks like the assault in that situation. But I mean, it's weird because there was a lot of interference from other players as well. These players who are now on A flag for Finland were also hovering around that tank. It just feels like they had more players there when they needed them. I think Spain, committed so many players to B, which is why they won the gunfight, that they just didn't have enough to save their tanker there. So again, this is why it's interesting. If you win 1 out of the 2 of the gunfights, you've basically not done much because now, Finland has got this 2 cap onto A flag. It's how quickly you can get this back if you're Spain, which is the important question to make. Mammut's in a weird position. You don't usually see tanks go anywhere else really, but this sort of NASCAR track on the fields. But I mean, Spain have got that back so quickly, but he is applying a lot of pressure. He needs to get these kills because, as a tanker, this is probably as much of a free kill as you're ever going to get onto A flag when this building's destroyed, and you can shoot into every every room in the house. This is free kills, and he's not got a single one so far, which is a bit strange.
Yeah, but I think he's done a lot of splash damage to a lot of these players, which are forcing them to be absolute when the Finnish guys push in. Rassi and Vuxen going down, they got caught out in the courtyard here. Mammut, really good reactions here, just hitting these guys as they find a safe position. And he's just applying that pressure, and that's the key thing right now when it comes to Finland, applying the pressure. But they're not making any advances onto Bravo. They could really do with maybe having 3 guys on Alpha, the remainder pushing onto Bravo, and that should give them a nice strong position. But they're determined to stay on this Alpha flag.
Oh. No, exactly right. Vuxen was able to get a revive and get the kill as soon as someone peeked him. So great reactions from him there. But unfortunately gets traded out. But Finland have managed to hold this A flag for longer than I thought. I thought Spain were about to flood the flag. With the help of their tank, they do get it back. But now Oscar is back with a vengeance. He's a bit miffed that he got taken down the first time. He's back now doing some more Oscar-like things, which is generally sort of break the meta up of what you'd expect a tank to do. And he's instead going to focus on Centrifuge here. He's probably going to peek out this first window. He probably knows that. He's a smart player, reads it perfectly and gets the kill. Absolutely fine for Oscar, no worries there. And this is the thing. You see the wipe coming in for Spain. They are pushing pressure onto that C flag. So Mammoot's just not feeling very comfortable anymore. He hasn't got his infantry around him. And I think at this point you'd like to see Oscar maybe push to B and hold the A-B flags that way. I guess the Spanish players will lose the C flag. I think the bit I'm looking forward to is how much are these tanks going to interact, because this is a very unconventional gunfight here from Respawn Station onto the sort of hill area. Would you see this if the game wasn't already decided? Probably not.
Well, I mean, I think Oscar is a very clever player so far. I think he's realised that there's no point going heads up when you've got Vukasin and Seved at the tree right outside the Alpha flag, so that automatically puts fields out of the question.
Yeah.
And especially when Centrifuge was nailing you when you got close to Mammoot with the tank there. So I think it makes a bit more sense to abuse this kind of like head glitch area, like his hold down now.
Yeah.
Just his turret is sticking up. Mammoot is really struggling to land any hits because he's hold down. So I mean, it's a smart play, and plus he's able to support A little bit more, provide a bit more of like a spawn beacon. I mean, he just nailed Centrifuge there, like that was a bit of a revenge. Shots ricocheting off the building, but Finland actually managing to grab Alpha back, and they're only 20 tickets behind, so they could still be in for a bit of a win here.
Definitely, I mean, it's definitely on the cards. It's just Oscar feels like the more effective tanker in this matchup because he's picking up kills and constantly sort of pinning down Mammoot on this repair station. And something to note as a tanker, if you're interested in that kind of thing, this obviously the repair station is extremely useful to have. Oscar is probably going to run out of bullets sometime soon, which is probably what Mammoot's thinking. He's probably thinking, you know, he's a little bit weak. He still doesn't heal, I don't think, since the first time he got hit. He hasn't got much ammo left, but Mammoot's actually going to back off because it's been destroyed by Oscar. So he actually gets him off that position because it's now no longer valuable. It's no longer the place to get health and ammo. And this is the thing, we see Spain temporarily cap C, and now Oscar's going to get very aggressive onto A flag. So I think Finland's going to retake the home flag, but Oscar's now moved into the position which he forced Mammoot off from by destroying that repair station. I would not be surprised if I see Oscar now get out the tank and repair it himself. That is something he has done before and might do again because he wants that ammo, he wants the health for himself essentially. So that's more than possible. I think Spain are now trying to force their way in behind Nak, behind Jorgito, but Lap is giving them some pressure on C as well.
Yeah, no, 100%. But I just don't get why Finland are just holding. Bravo is completely open right now. They're just determined to spawn on this island in the middle of the fields, doing nothing, just getting gunned down. I mean, if I was Spain, I would just maybe leave 1 or 2 players to just shoot around them. Like, just don't even kill them. Yeah. Let them stay there. You've taken 3 players out for the price of 2, and then just casually stroll up the middle of the map here. There's no one between Charlie and Bravo right now on the Finnish side. They're going balls deep for Alpha, and I think Market is just going to slowly waltz across the fields of wheat like Theresa May and make his way into Charlie.
Totally, I think that's the second time Oscar's been taken down, mainly because of just he's throwing himself into the absolute, hornet's nest there, sandwiched between the tank and basically the entire team. But like you said, I think this is the criticism we had, which I think is a very valid one for Finland on other maps, and I think you see it on bigger maps even more because the rotations are much harder to make, is they focus so heavily on a tactic, and if it goes wrong, they're basically stuffed. It's like the tactic from the word go has clearly been AC, hold with the tank. if they haven't got A, or if they got pressure on C, they haven't even attempted to go B. B is literally desolate. There's no one in like 100-meter radius of B flag. It's pretty crazy, honestly. I've never seen B flag that alone on a squad conquest map before, because Spain know that they're doing this. I think that's the issue. You can do this tactic and fail, and you can get away with it sometimes. But against a team like Spain, which is not only skilled but also smart, it's just you can't get away with the fact that they know that you're going to do AC, and you're going to stick with that tactic. You see guys like Brian, the barcode man, on Big Tree spawning there just because he feels like there must be someone eventually pushing to B. You can't leave B alone the whole game, guys. You know, you are losing the match after overall. I don't know what do you think about that, Wad?
Yeah, it's very strange, if I'm honest, and this is where the your in-game leader or your captain really has to have his head on. It needs to be taking in all this information.
Yep.
From these guys, like where players are, player counts. I mean, counting players is something that is a key skill for any competitive guy. You know, there's 3 guys here that hold on. My other guy just called out 2-3 more guys, so you can roughly paint a picture of where everyone is on the map without even having to be there.
Yeah.
And it allows you to allocate your resources of your players where you need to be. Guys, don't spawn on Alpha again. Spawn on this dude. Push for Charlie. Push for Bravo. And I think this is something that Spain has done very well. They've pushed onto Bravo. They've been completely pushed off. Mamu and 4 other guys now committed to Bravo. So where do we start to see the push happening? Back on Alpha, where we've got Jordi and Market applying pressure. And it's going to force Finland to spawn in different areas of the map. And then you can start to deconstruct and pull players out.
Nice.
And that's how it's... and I think that's the key thing to it. It's how do you spread these players apart? How do you stop them from getting into positive trade situations? And the moment you can do that, you can pull these good teams, you know, into pieces. And that's something that Spain has done very, very well. And I think they're just going to continue doing it throughout the rest of these quarterfinals, Jimmy.
Yeah, no, extremely well explained there. This pull and push motion, which Spain were doing, actually doesn't work out for like the rare time it hasn't really worked out was in that case. So Severdinho with a great job on A flag, and Mammoot's actually capping C flag with the tanker himself. He is sandwiched between Nacho and Marquitos, so he's probably a bit stressed out. Centrifuge kills himself somehow. Not sure how that happened, but I mean, this is the best thing I've seen so far, but from Finland on this map. And I say that as their tankers basically get pushed back into spawn. He should be fine. So this A flag is probably the place where you'd expect to go next, because when they're going to fight some B, they've got big tree control now. Adri's dead. Oscar is back again for the 3rd time, guys, in the tank. He's been taken down twice already, but he's getting the pressure, getting the kills. And honestly, as a tanker, you can just be so much of a distraction that your infantry players just love being around you, because they just know that they can get free, easy kills when everyone's looking at the big hunk of armor rather than the little, you know, thin, skinny infantryman running next to him.
Yeah, it's proving to work out very, very well for Finland at the moment. Though they're reacting very well. They push Oscar off. They get the kills on like Brian and Bullfitter go down, and there's already players there. They've got teams on Charlie, applying the pressure on Charlie, just hanging around outside. So there's no fighting happening anywhere on the Bravo flag right now. And it's allowed a ton of pressure to just be relieved from that Finnish team. But now's a really key moment. They've lost both their fights on Alpha and Charlie. What do they do? Where do they go? And for me, the obvious situation here is Charlie's our home flag. Everyone spawning home will push in as one solid line onto Charlie, and we just get the kills. But they have to react quick, and they have to do it before the tank gets there, which they haven't done. Oscar's now here. It's going to take out that presence of the tank from Mammut, and these Spanish players are just going to be laughing.
You see a little med crate being flown in by Nacho there. Again, I don't want to somehow take responsibility or claim the fact that they're tri players and say that they're smart because of that, but they just seem to do these little tiny things where you wouldn't really expect a normal player to do that. You saw Oscar on Provence, you know, basically abusing the roof glitch, which might have to be banned because of that, Oscar, so you might have exposed yourself there. But I mean, again, this tactical play where, you know, teams in these sort of matches probably forget that reinforcements even exist, but not Nacho. He remembers that he can get health back, which means that you can basically transport a random rock head glitch into your personal med crate if you're an assault player, and that completely changes the flow of the game. It turns you basically into a Lewis gun player with an infinite level of health right next to you, and that sort of thing is really impactful when you're playing.
Yeah, exactly, and I mean, if we look a bit more into these players from that first person and see what's going on, see what they could see from sort of that ground level, it really opens up to how difficult it can be when players are in those sort of head glitches.
Yep.
And what we're going to see, I mean, Ardy doing a very good job with the Piat here, gets to land a big hit on Mamu and just constantly fires those shells in to lock off that side, but he does get hit from the flank here, as we see Mighty all behind, getting a good one in there, doing a very, very good job.
While you were speaking, Marquitos pushed the finished spawn and was able to dynamite Mammoet off the map, so now Oscar's the last tanker left on the map, causing absolute havoc on A flag. So both flags do their job perfectly well. B flag is just about as desolate as it was in the middle of the game. This time, Spain probably no, because I mean that is about as clean as I think that's 8 players dead at once. I don't think anyone's up on the map for Finland. There we go. Vuxen's first guy to spawn. He spawns on B, trying to defend the flag they've got, but it's too late. Game is already over. 52-0 victory for Spain. It is surprisingly close. It's not like it's a complete blowout by any stretch, but consistently Spain have won these games by 78, 58, 39, 52. These sort of consistent winning margins has just been too much for Finland to overcome.
And we've seen a few teams so far in this international series from BWL opt to not have the tank at all on this map. They've just left it. They go, what's the point in having it? Would rather have the extra infantry player. It's a lot easier to move around as an infantry player on this map.
Yeah.
And I think we might end up seeing, well, I was hoping we might see it tonight, because it's very interesting play from the team that does it. But it looks like we're going to see Oscar in the tank, even though he was an absolute awesome powerhouse as infantry in the few maps we did see him in. And Mamu again in the tank for Finland.
Yeah, so like I said, it's interesting we skip over Rotterdam and then play 2 tank maps in a row. We did see it go both ways. Obviously Spain won the game, but Oscar did go down twice in that game. So you could say it's fairly even in that way. But no, both teams do, like I said, opt for the tank. Nacho is directly on the Finnish tank straight away, but he does get taken down. This B push is gone.
Yeah, but not before getting a few dynamite shots onto Mamu, and Oscar just Tokyo drifting round the side there, landing hits in, and I think I don't know what is going on here.
What? Yeah, because I mean, this guy Oscar, he gets towed, pit stopped by a police car. Almost flipped over and still manages to take him down. So that's the Finnish tank gone. Meanwhile, while that's absolute nonsense is going on, Spain are able to get the kills on this sort of medbox Overwatch side, and they are sort of pushing over to C. You do see Finland maintain the B flag, even though I'm sure Spain could cap it as soon as they wanted to. Honestly, there's no one there. And they do put pressure on the C flag. So again, this map is actually a surprising amount of sort of outer region space to flank around and just to stay alive in. All this kind of rubble is very difficult to keep track of. You can hide, you can stay spawnable for your teams. And I think just Spain doing that on C and just messing around is such a pain in the ass that Finland now feel pressured enough and stressed out enough to have to push B flag. They have to get on the flag and start capping it now. They have to win these gunfights.
Yeah, no, 100%. I mean, they started off really, really well. They had their home, they had that Bravo flag, they suffered a bit of defeat from the loss of their tank. But while the tank was there, and trying to faff on the Bravo flag, not really doing much for his team other than being a presence, he could have been holding out the Charlie flag and really anchoring the home flag.
Yeah.
Didn't really happen, so now Lapa and Centrifugi having to fight into their own home, players still trying to spawn up here and control Bravo, and we are going to see a triple cap from the Spanish players here as Rassi tries to go through the map, and I don't know what they're doing. I mean, at this point I would send one player from one squad to Alpha, other player from the other squad to Charlie, and then at least you're going to get a map either way, depending on the outcome. But we'll just have to see how this plays out, what they're going to do, what the thought process is behind it. But Ballfitter tried to hold out. Rioli here did a good job getting that out. Vuckerson is up, and now the whole Finnish team here is on Charlie, and I think Spain know it.
Yeah, like you said, we mentioned before how effective Spain seem to be in sort of, I don't know, sort of keeping track of these sort of like player numbers, so they know how many people are on a certain flag. It feels like they just sort of know, where they are at certain times of the map. I guess the call-out communication is very good. We talked about in other matches how the sort of Spanish team has been pretty consistent, pretty solid for years now. Same sort of players playing with each other. I mean, they've got the same players on the same team as well. So it's the chemistry is not lacking on the Spanish team. And I think that comes in handy when they're sort of saying, this many guys here, this many guys here, there must be this many guys here, let's do this as a result. And that sort of, quantifying and decision making is really fluid and really fast, and is very hard to keep up with if you're Finland.
100% here, and Oscar with a good play, just holding outside here, just putting that pressure on, just firing into the Charlie flag constantly. And it's going to just give out a bit of pressure as we start to see Larpa pushing into the centre. Market's probably going to have to be facing a two-man push now from Rassi and Larpa, so let's just see how that's going to happen. Picks off one, unfortunately can't pick off Larpa the second as Larpa pushes down, gets a nice clean wipe. Spain having to spawn back onto Bravo and Alpha. Ballfitter and Joe's doing a really good job just holding back, and Brian securing the Alpha push. And now they've also got players just stalling on Bravo, and I think that's something Spain have done really, really well. They've always got one player going back for the home flag, and Finland have seemed to forget that sometimes, whether it just be a bit of panic or positioning issues. But it looks like he is trying to get round. Did have a bit of fight there, but Centrifugi just beamed him as he goes in, and it's going to allow Mighty all behind to sneak around the back and Copperfield on Alpha.
Actually hopping on with Nak here on the side of the map, just a sneaky little play where he's the sort of last guy on C flag for Spain. We know Oscar's on the resupply station outside of B flag, and the tank knows he's here. And the reason this is important is because the tank isn't moving. He knows he's here. He hasn't got enough confidence to go in the middle of the map. He has to watch for this guy, which means that the tank's basically useless. And this is why you see teams decide not to go for the tank, because there's so much crap you can sort of hide in on the side of the map. As a tanker, it's a nightmare. You can put mines on this road. You can dynamite them from out of nowhere. You can get guys spawning on you. Panzerfaust as a team. The height advantage from Medbox. Absolute nightmare. It doesn't work out, but that sort of delay, it feels like means that they can get back onto B flag. They lose basically every gunfight, so they set themselves up well, but they weren't able to execute. But I think that sort of distraction is really important. You see Oscar. I don't know what. Did he kill himself?
Absolutely brilliant.
Did he kill himself with the mines?
I think maybe he did. Obviously, he fired that straight into the pillar, I think, in front of him, and those things on the sponsons on the side. So that splash damage must have done a decent amount on him, which is unfortunate, as Finland managed to regain both control of Bravo and Charlie. Larp is setting up on the right hand side here, Mighty getting taken out, but good work from Ardy and Market, who are looking to get around the flank. It's going to be up to Larpa to take this out, and this is where Centrifugi could be in a really strong position, just on this Charlie flag, watching that one flank. That's where he needs to be right now on the map. It's a very obvious flank, but he's decided to push up towards the Alpha flag. Larpa hasn't got the range right now. He's to engage that, and he gets taken out from the side, and we need to start seeing a quick reaction for Finland. They've got two choices: pull back to Charlie or bump up to Alpha, and it's a good play here that they've decided to go towards that Charlie push, with Vuckerson taking that pressure now.
Yeah. No, I agree. Yeah, I feel like you're not going to win many squad conquest games without taking your home flag, and I think Finland know that at this point. So they are putting pressure back on C flag. They haven't got that many guys though. I mean, most of the players are sort of milling around this B area, which is dangerous. I mean, it's a pretty sizable rotation. I mean, Finland's coming out with a lot of kills. There's never been a time where you didn't think they could slay with Spain. It feels like most of the issues are tactical or you know, how well are you doing as a team? And it feels like they're definitely slaying Vuxen and putting in work. Probably going to get traded out. No, Lapa comes in and saves him outside C, so they did a good job of getting C back. This is the thing. They rotated off B so heavily that now it's up to Centrifugi to hold the line here, and this is some massive kills from him.
Yeah, and he's doing a very, very good job here. Although he's seen those players in, Mammoot's pushed onto Bravo to get those kills here. Oscar's back up in the tank, so they need to be careful. Saved went down on the flank, so they know where they're coming from. Lapa tried to get the engagement there, but Brian did a good job of getting the kills as Rioli is trying to make up for that. Brian just peeking out, being very sneaky right now. He knows Rioli's going for the revive, and he's spraying down at that body to try and get the kills. Unfortunately, he can't, and he's going to be in for a bit of a pinch here if he's not too careful. But Josie does get the revive on him. And he's just kind of pinning these guys in and down the stairs. He's going aggressive now. It pays off for Finland there as Rivali gets the kill. That patience really did pay off, popping their head up. But Josie's going to be there to get the trade on that. So
nice.
Really good play from both players. Finland's still holding on to Bravo. Oscar somehow is now on Charlie, just causing absolute havoc for Vukasin and Rassi right now.
I don't know how Oscar stays alive sometimes.
I mean, you just gotta, like, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take, and yeeting himself up a hill and just taking the shots. He's gotten 2 nice good kills, and now he's lined up perfectly for a 48 hit on the side of the Finnish tank here from Mammoth. I mean, awesome play from Oscar. He's just going balls to the wall with this one, and now he's leveling it off for his team at 61 to 62. It's been a very, very close match so far.
No, definitely. I kind of wish this was, you know, this sort of close match which we see now, and we saw like first map on Marita, that sort of stayed the whole way through. Unfortunately, Spain did take control of all the maps after Marita. I mean, they took control of Marita as well by 2 tickets, but I mean, they take down Oscar in the tank, so he's been so aggressive that it's actually not really worked for him that well. You see a load of kills come through for Finland, and they're able to basically force what looks something like a trip cap. Spain are going to be able to take the C random spawn. Mamakitos is staying alive on Bridge Tower. So yeah, you see Bull there. You see Brian there take the spawn. Back C. They know he's there. Rasa takes the gunfight, loses it. Vuxen needs to be there for the trade. He's a step too slow.
I mean, I'm just going to draw your attention here, dude. Like, what's happening on the other side of the map with Mammoth? I mean, he just kept 4 or 5 of these Spanish players on the outside of the map with the help of Mighty, and they've wasted their little health package here. Oscar's now on his own, and it's given Finland the time to now sneak in a cheeky triple cap here, as the whole Spanish teams had to spawn all the way back at their home spawn. Absolutely insane, and it's going to cause a lot of damage as Finland have now got time to set up for that push from Alpha, because they know that's the only place Spain are going to come from. Awesome play by Finland, well done by Mammoth there, you know, holding those 4 players back. It's just been worked out really well for them, that play, and as you can see, the tickets are going down. Lapa's getting aggressive now, pushing into sort of market, and Centrifugi just throwing down the rounds.
So I don't know whether to credit Mammoth for getting like a 4-piece basically, and he just got Oscar as well. If anyone missed that, he did get Oscar as the last Spanish guy who didn't spawn on their home flag to try and retake it. They take it very fast because obviously they've got 7 players on it. I think they now got 8 players. Finland are actually taking it again. They've actually won more of the gunfights. They've just gone like basically 7v7, and they've just come out on top, just straight up. Oscar's back in the tank again. I don't know how many tanks Oscar's got. Rolling out of his armory. I don't know what's going on here. Does some more crazy stuff where he's just rolling down the middle of A flag. Rolly's in this corner. He's probably thinking, what the hell? What the tank's doing up here? I'm getting the hell out of here. He just dips. Hugito knows where he is. Anyway, my point is that they've wasted so much time getting the trip cap that it doesn't matter that Spain have taken A back, because Finland have just completely buoyed them off the map in the last 2 like wave of kills, I guess, where they've trip capped and got 8 players dead twice now. Finally, Spain push up, but it's just way too late. So you're actually going to see Finland probably steal a map here. It's going to be a massive choke. You see Oscar pushing Mammut again. Does some more crazy...
But it could go a bit wrong here, as you see Bullfitter and Brian coming around the back onto Charlie. Larper's going to have to go big. Couldn't get the kill on Brian. He's looping around the back of the stairs. He's laying down as Josie goes for the cheeky peek round. They know he's there. Luckily Mighty spawns in. Mighty goes down. Bullfitter gets taken off as he goes for the kill.
One ticket.
And Larper is going to get the kill there, possibly. No, he gets traded out by Josie. But I think that's going to be all she wrote, because Bullfitter is very close to not being able to revive.
What is happening? What is happening? Absolute chaos on the map. I don't think Spain can afford the ticket loss. Oscar's dead. Jorgito's dead. Yeah. I mean,
I think if they can't get Oscar and they can't get Jordito, that's going to be game for them.
Yeah.
And they've got 38 tickets on the board left to take out. It's going to be a big ask to last that long without any of your team dying. But they managed to get Oscar. Jordito is holding on to his life right now. It's 32-1. Can Spain do it?
I don't think they've got time, but they're pushing. They're going for it. They're actually capping B. Marquitos needs to push and get the kill. He needs to get the kill. He doesn't win the gunfight.
He just doesn't, and that's Jordito is down. And with that play, we're going to see Finland win their first map of this 6-map series. Unfortunately, it's not by 229 tickets as we would have hoped. And Spain still go through to that semi-final.